In a world where extraordinary talent can rise from the most unexpected places, today's story will take you on an unforgettable journey. Before we begin, welcome back to our channel where we bring you the most emotional, inspiring, and unbelievable stories from around the world. If you're new here, make sure to stay till the end because what you are about to witness is something that touched millions of hearts. And now, let's dive into the story of a poor 10-year-old Filipina girl from Manila whose voice shocked the entire America's Got Talent stage and brought judges to their feet. She lived in one of the small, crowded streets of Tondo, Manila, a neighborhood where survival itself was a daily struggle. Her name was Althea, a thin little girl with big hopeful eyes, messy ponytails, old slippers, and a voice she only used while washing dishes, helping her mother collect plastic bottles, or singing to the stray cats behind their tiny home made of patched wood and rusted metal sheets. From a distance she looked like any other child from the area, but up close there was something different about her, something in the quiet confidence when she hummed melodies to herself, something in the way she stood still whenever she heard music play from the neighbor's old radio. She never had a microphone. She never had a vocal coach. She never even owned a phone to record herself. But she had a heart full of dreams. Life was never easy for her. Her father worked as a construction helper, often coming home exhausted and covered in dust. Her mother sold kakanin on the street, hoping to earn enough for rice and a few vegetables. Their income was barely enough, and many days she slept without dinner. Still, she always believed in one thing, music. She thought of it as her only friend, her escape from the noise of the city, the hunger, the fear, and the loneliness of growing up poor. Sometimes she would climb onto their roof at night just to sing softly while staring at the stars because she believed that maybe, someday, those stars would hear her voice. Every weekend, she sneaked into a nearby internet shop, not to play games like other kids, but to watch videos of Lady Gaga. She memorized every note, every breath, every emotion. She didn't try to copy her. Instead, she tried to understand the way Lady Gaga poured her soul into every performance. That was what inspired her the most. She wanted to sing like that, not just to be heard, but to make people feel something deep inside. One day, a foreign couple visiting Manila heard her singing on the street while she was helping her mother sell snacks. They stopped, stunned by the angelic yet powerful tone coming from such a young girl. They recorded a short clip on their phone, not knowing that this tiny moment would change the course of her life. Later, they posted it online, and within days it reached millions. People from all over the world commented saying the same thing: this girl needs to be on a big stage. A representative from America's Got Talent saw the video and contacted a local organization to help locate her. When the news reached Althea's family, they couldn't believe it. Traveling to America felt impossible. They barely had enough money for everyday meals. But the show arranged everything: flights, visas, accommodation. It was a miracle they never expected. The night before her flight to the United States, Althea couldn't sleep. She sat by the window looking out at the streetlights flickering across the wet pavement. Rain dripped through the cracks of their roof, but she didn't mind. She held her chest and whispered to herself that she would sing her heart out, not for fame, not for money, but for her parents, for her community, and for every child who felt invisible. When she finally landed in America, she was overwhelmed. The airport, the crowds, the bright lights, the huge buildings, everything felt unreal. But she kept reminding herself why she was there. She would show the world what a girl from Manila could do. On the day of her audition, she walked backstage wearing a simple white dress donated by a Filipino community group in Los Angeles. Her slippers were replaced with borrowed shoes that were slightly too big for her, but she didn't complain. She braided her hair by herself and whispered a short prayer. The other contestants chatted nervously around her, but she remained quiet, focused, holding on to the melody she had practiced for weeks. When her name was finally called, she stepped onto the AGT stage. The audience saw a tiny girl who looked nervous yet determined. The spotlight hit her, making her squint a little. Simon Cowell looked at her with curiosity. Heidi smiled warmly. Howie leaned forward. Sophia waved at her gently. The theater went silent. Simon asked her in his calm, slightly serious tone where she was from. She answered softly, saying she was from Manila, Philippines. Simon then asked what she would be singing. She looked up, took a breath, and said she would perform a song inspired by Lady Gaga. The audience whispered quietly, unsure of what to expect from a 10-year-old. Then the music began. The first note she sang was so pure, so haunting, that several people in the audience immediately placed their hands over their mouths in shock. Her voice wasn't just powerful, it was emotional in a way most children her age couldn't express. It carried pain, hope, love, and longing all at once. As she continued, her voice built into strong, soaring notes, perfectly controlled yet filled with raw emotion. She sang like she had lived 1,000 lifetimes of struggle and triumph. Simon Cowell, who rarely showed emotion, slowly leaned back in his chair. His eyebrows rose as he realized this wasn't a normal performance. This was a moment. A 10-year-old with no vocal training, no professional background, no expensive instruments, no shining outfit, simply stood there and delivered a performance worthy of the world's biggest stage. As she reached the climax of the song, her voice exploded into a powerful belt that echoed through the entire theater. Many audience members stood up. Some cried openly. Even backstage contestants stopped what they were doing just to listen. She held the final note perfectly, her small chest lifting as she pushed out every ounce of emotion in her heart. And then silence. The whole theater was stunned. They didn't move. They didn't clap. They just stared at her, as if their minds were still catching up to what had just happened. Then suddenly, the audience erupted in cheers, applause, whistles, and screams. Some people jumped to their feet. Some wiped their tears. Judges looked at each other in disbelief. Heidi placed her hands on her heart. Sophia's eyes were glistening. Howie clapped so loudly he almost hit his microphone. Simon, still silent, leaned forward with the most serious expression. He didn't smile yet. He took a long breath and asked her gently if she knew how special her voice was. She shook her head shyly. Then Simon looked at the other judges, then at the audience, then back at her. Without saying anything else, he stood up, pressed both of his hands onto the golden buzzer, and slammed it down. Gold confetti burst into the air. The crowd screamed. Althea covered her face and burst into tears. She fell to her knees as the golden lights swirled around her like a dream coming to life. Her mother, watching from backstage, cried so hard a staff member had to hold her up. Her father stood frozen, repeating the same words softly, "That's my daughter. That's my daughter." Simon walked onto the stage and knelt beside her. He placed a hand on her shoulder and told her that she reminded him of why he created shows like AGT. He said her voice was not just beautiful but meaningful because it came from a place of real struggle. He said that America would fall in love with her and that this was only the beginning. The video of her golden buzzer moment went viral overnight. Millions of people watched it, praising her voice, her story, and her courage. She became a symbol of hope for children everywhere who believed that dreams were possible even without money, training, or privilege. During the live shows, she performed songs that showcased not just her power but her soul. She became known as the Little Filipina with the voice of a superstar. Lady Gaga herself eventually reposted her video on social media with a message saying she was proud of her and that talent has no boundaries. Her journey was far from over, but she had already changed her family's life. They no longer struggled to survive. The world now knew her name. She became a beacon of inspiration for Filipino kids who lived in broken homes, who shared meals with neighbors, who walked barefoot to school, who dreamed but never expected anything to come true. Her story proved that greatness can come from the smallest alleys, the poorest homes, and the most unexpected places. What matters is the fire inside the heart. And that is the story of how a poor 10-year-old girl from Manila, with nothing but a voice and a dream, sang like Lady Gaga on the AGT 2025 stage and won the world's heart.